Okay, there we go. Okay, now it's recording. Okay, here we are for our last two chapters of Revelation. It's been a long journey, but I have learned a lot. I don't know about you, but I have just learned so much. And now last week, I will send the last links. I have all the links from chapter 13 through the end, and I will send them all again, and you can keep them and look whenever. Okay. And then we will decide where we're going to go to next, what we're going to study next. Okay. So now we just finished that big battle last week, and that white throne judgment. We talked about who's judged and why and what happens. So now we know that at this time, all those that accepted and believed in Jesus are with him, and all those that refused and did not accept have been thrown into hell. Okay, so now we're going to see what happens next. Sin can no more come at anyone. There'll be no more sin, no more temptation, nothing at this time. So now we're ready for Revelation chapter 21. And here, John, in his writing, he says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So we're going to see what that means as we go on here. He says, I saw the new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth are gone. So we don't know where. It says there's no more any sea. I don't know if you remember when we were in the beginning and we were talking about the creation. When he first made the creation, it was all water, you know, and then he brought the waters together, let the land come up. Now he says there's no more sea. And think about that, no more water. Why? We will not need our physical water anymore because we'll be drinking from the well that never dries. And we'll see more about that as we continue here. He saw the holy city, that's Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven. Now, John is watching this and he sees this, a whole city coming down. Now, if you use your imagination and you think about the things that we see now in space, and they talk about all the spaceships and all of that, just imagine seeing one big one, huge, coming down. Okay, and remember, John was writing from his perspective, what he saw. Okay, so this is what he was imagining, seeing in his mind that the angel was showing him. So maybe it looks like this. We don't know for sure, but this is one picture of maybe what it looked like. And some of these things, like the different colors that are here and the city, after we talk some more, you'll understand more what they actually mean. And then he said he saw it like a bride for her husband. Now, who is the bride?
Jesus.
The church, okay, the Christians. It's the Christians, those who have believed. So if he sees the holy city, Jerusalem, dressed like a bride, that means that it's us, the church. All of us that were saved are coming in this city to this new earth. Okay, and he says it looks like the bride, and of course he's the Lion of Judah. So the bride and groom. This is now after the wedding. Remember last week we said there was the wedding, and then they had the 1,000-year Honeymoon. Honeymoon. Yeah. 1,000 years honeymoon. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Okay. So he saw that new earth coming down out of heaven. And it explains here, it says the first and second were passed away, no more sea. All right. Now he tells us that it's the dwelling place of God. He's with man. If you remember when he created the world and the garden, he was with Adam and he walked with Adam, you know, every day. And he lived with Adam. It's going to be the same here. God's going to be living with us. He'll be right there with us. There will be no more praying to a God that we can't see or know. He's with us. He's going to live with man, and he's going to walk with us, and we will be his, will belong to him, will be his people belonging to God, and he'll be and God is with us as our God. You know, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be awesome. You know, when we think when we go to heaven, you know, what about all those that went to hell? You know, we're not going to worry about that. They had their chance, they had their opportunity, but when we're in heaven, it's going to be so wonderful and glorious that we aren't going to think about the old things that were on the earth. It'll be all new for us. Okay. And this is amazing what God's going to do, many things. He's going to wipe away. Oh, no more crying, no more crying, no more death. Yeah, no tears. No person will ever die again. Why? Because there's no sin and no Satan, and that's where death comes from. If Satan would have not started in the garden with Adam and Eve, there never would have been death. But now there's no more death ever. Pain is gone. I know last week I was with people that are having much pain all the time in their lives, in their knees. I have a friend that she's diagnosed with chronic pain, continuous pain, like burning. And she has faith and she believes and she trusts God. But as of now, God has not let that healing manifest. But when we're in heaven, no more. And it's like I say with my daughter, you know, and people that are going through any kind of pain, depression, anything, no more in heaven. All gone, all gone, all gone, never to come back, never to come back, because now this time Satan will not be allowed to ever come back again. He's in that lake of fire with the Antichrist, with the false prophet, and all those who didn't believe in Jesus, and they will be staying there for eternity. And just one thing from last week when we said about the second death, we as Christians, we have that first death, meaning that we die on earth. And they also die on earth if they are not believers. But when we had that white throne judgment, we were only judged for our works and given our crowns, but they were judged for not accepting Christ. And so they had a second death and thrown into hell. Okay. So no more for us. All right. So we have the New Jerusalem, and he saw the holy city. It's new heaven, new earth. He saw the holy city coming down, And it says, behold, the temple of God is with man. Now, when we read in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they had the temple. In the New Testament, we have our temples, synagogues, churches, all of that, right? But where do we say that God lives?
In us.
In us, right? We are the temple. So when you think about that, when you read this, it says, behold, the tabernacle of God is with man. So that tells us that even though we are there with God, always, God is in us also. Because we are the temple, that tabernacle. You follow? Okay. Okay. And then he says, behold, I'm making all things new. Okay. He was on his throne and he said, everything's going to be new. And he told John, he said, write, because this is faithful and true. Right. Remember, he told John to write. And one time, if you remember, he told John, he showed him something and he said, don't write this, that one thing. You remember? Okay, now he's telling him to write this also, so we can see and know that his words, and his words are the scriptures, but that they're true, they're faithful, and everything God says must happen. Okay. Now, he also declares he's the beginning and the end, the Alpha, which is the beginning, Omega is the end. So of everything, God was here in the beginning, created the beginning. Now at the end and the finish, God is here again. Okay, he's continuing with us. And then it says, to every person who's thirsty, he says, I will give you freely from the springs of the water of life. So we won't need that natural water per se anymore, but it tells us that that water of life will be flowing always for us. We'll never be thirsty. It says, and without payment. Now we think about our water bill, our gas bill, all of that. We have to pay for everything. Or water one day might be hard to get, but you'll never have to pay for it. It'll always be there for you. Okay. Now, who overcomes? It says the person who overcomes will inherit all things. Who is the overcomer?
Me?
Yeah, me, us. We who believe. We overcame all the temptations, all the troubles, all the things. Our sin was removed. We have overcome. So he says, the person who overcomes, what do we get? Everything. And it says he will be God for us, and we will be his son. So again, it's telling us we are the same as Jesus. Everything that Jesus has, does, can do, we have. Okay. And we will be equal with Jesus in heaven. He'll be our God, our Father, and we will be the sons. Okay. Now, but there's always a but. The people who are afraid and don't believe, they do awful things. They murder, they're whores, they're sorcerers, idolaters, liars. They will all be in that lake of fire. Mhm. And that's the second death. It's not me, and it's not you, because I know all of you believe. All right. Now, the new Jerusalem, the bride of Christ. If you'll remember, we finished with a question before of, is the new Jerusalem the bride? And I said that in the beginning, it described the coming down of the new city as the bride. And so remember, the bride is not one person. It's all of us together, okay? Now, it says there came one of those angels, you remember, that had the seven bowls. One of those angels came to him and he told him that all the plagues, all those awful things that were poured out, those will continue on the people that didn't believe forever. They will have all those awful things for all eternity. So he's telling him, come quickly. And he says, I want to show you the bride, the Lamb wife. Okay. So remember that all those that have done all those awful things will have all those things poured out on them forever. Okay. And then John says that he took him away in the spirit. In other words, maybe John was still sitting on the earth, but his spirit went with him, okay? And he showed him that holy city, Jerusalem, coming down from heaven. Now he's explaining more about what he saw. And he said it was shining with the glory of God. It was so bright. Oh, just shining. And it was like all the precious jewels, all the stones that we like, the diamonds and the rubies and all of that, they shine. And that's how it says, and then he names that, he says it's like jasper or like a crystal. In other words, it was just so bright and shiny. And it had walls that were high, and they had 12 gates, 12 angels, one at every gate. And then they had the names of the gates were the names of the tribes of Israel. So every gate, you'll see more as we go here. I have pictures, but I wanted to read it first. And then there were 3 gates on the east. There were 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on the south, and 3 gates on the west. 12 gates. Okay. All right. Now we're going to look more into this. Okay. So he's standing there. Remember, he took him to the mountain and he's watching all this come down. He's watching it come down out of heaven. Okay. So he showed him the great city, but you see, it's all looks like gold and shiny. Now, this is in John's imagination. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's not. But we do know that whatever it truly is, it looks like gold and it's shining. Okay. So there he is. He's watching it. And you see, he has this, he's ready to write. He's ready to write. There's crystal. That's crystal, shiny. And you can actually even see through crystal. Okay. And here, it shows the 3, 3, 3, and 3. 1, 2, 3. 3, 3, 3. So there's the 12 gates, and it looks like it's square. You hear of the city 4 square, and it's high, wide. All the measurements are the same. Okay, so and then it's going to explain here that there's 2 trees of life, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the water flowing, the water flows through the middle. And then his throne is in the center. Now, if you think about in the Old Testament, the Holy of Holies, that was the place where God dwelt. And then remember, one time every year, the high priest would go in before God, sitting on the throne. And we had there what we call the mercy seat and all those things. So this is kind of a picture of that, the tabernacle on earth compared to the tabernacle that came down from heaven, was in heaven and then came down. It's a comparison. Okay. So just imagine, I'm giving you different pictures to kind of see and imagine what it maybe will look like. Okay. Now you see here's your gates with an angel at every gate. And everything, there's the river, the trees, and then all the people and things around. I mean, just everything here. All right. Now build on the foundation. Okay. Now we had the 12 names from Israel were on the gates, but the foundation is from the 12 apostles of Jesus. So it has the Old Testament is represented and the New Testament is represented. All right. And so on this foundation, it says Jesus will be the cornerstone. And I don't know if you know, but when they're building, that cornerstone is what holds it all together. And so Jesus is that cornerstone. But it says the wall of the city had these 12 foundation stones, and on them were the 12 names of the 12 apostles, the apostles of Jesus. Okay. Now you see here, here's a list of all the jewels that were there: amethyst, jacinth, green quartz, topaz, beryl, yellow quartz, red quartz, onyx, emerald, agate, sapphire, quartz, all of those. And you see they take them and they layer them. So these 12 make the foundation. So it's built on the apostles of God, and these beautiful stones make the foundation for the building. And then we will talk about the pearl, because every gate was made of a pearl. Took a big oyster to make that pearl. Okay. Okay, now this explains more. It shows like for every one of the apostles, it just shows the different stones that they use. And here it names all the sons of Israel. And it just shows they also compare to jewels. So everything is a precious stone. Everything looks beautiful. So it's just that symbolism of everything. Every apostle, every son of Israel are shown with jewels. Okay. Yes. Yeah, what's your question, Nicole? Oh, she is? Okay. Let me get her in here. Let's see. How do I get back to that? There we go. Okay. Is she coming in? Hey, hi, Cheryl. Welcome. I'm sorry I didn't see you waiting there, but now we got you. So we're in the middle. We've already started. It said that the one that talked with him had a golden reed to measure the city. Okay. So now we saw that the gates, we saw the foundation, and now we're going to see the size, and we're going to see that it measures all the same. We're going to see that. Okay. Now, it says the city is square and its length and width are the same size. Okay. And the height also is the same. They're all equal. And it's like 15,000 miles tall, wide, and long. That's the new Jerusalem. That's how big it is. And so when we compare it to our measurements today, it'd be like 15,000 miles. That's big square. And John saw it coming down. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge. Compared to the United States, that's how big it would be. It would cover all that space. And the city would have the same one. Yeah. Oh, the number of people, it says that it would be big enough that if it had to, it could hold all the people that are on Earth now. They'd be scrunched in. But remember, they're not going to all be there either, you know. But it will be big enough, plenty of space for all of the believers. Okay.
So Karen,
Yeah.
I was saying that the New Jerusalem
Mhm.
is described the same as when the people of Israel were, when they were in the wilderness. I don't know how to spell it.
Maybe, but it's just showing the size, and that it will have all believers, whether they're Jews, Gentiles, and the idea is the new Jerusalem, because remember, that's the place
Mhm.
that God wanted everything to be in the first place.
Yeah, it's the same how the people made the tabernacle.
Yes. When they made
When
real-
God led them by fire
yes
during the
And the
night,
cloud, yes,
and then God led the people like in a
with the
cloud.
cloud by day. That was to protect them, to keep the enemy away. But now we will not need
Right.
protection, because Satan and all the not believers are gone.
But it's described the same.
Yes.
The three tribes
Yeah, yes, yes.
on
Yeah,
each
the Old
side.
Testament tabernacle is the same, showing the 12 tribes, yes, with the 3, 3, 3,
Yeah.
and 3. Yes,
So the way God wanted it
in
to
the beginning.
be
Yeah,
in the beginning,
yes, yes.
it is now
It will be
with the
there.
new city.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, in that New Jerusalem.
Wow.
Absolutely right. Yes, amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, now here again, it shows the 12 different things, and it names them all here that make up that foundation. They're all beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. And then this shows, you know, how maybe it'll look, you know, that 12 layers, that foundation, and you see it here, and then all those. Yes, yes, it's very beautiful. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Okay. And then it says about the pearl. He says, each gate will be a pearl. And like I said, it takes a big oyster. And again, remember, they're showing us in John's perspective what it looks like. Maybe it's not a pearl, or maybe it is, but not from an oyster or whatever, you know, but it's how it looks. And so at the gate will be the pearl. There'll be an angel at every gate. Okay. And then you see beneath it here all the different stones, the foundation. Okay. All right. And it says the streets were gold, pure gold. And he said it was like glass, just shining, reflecting. So the streets here, like gold. And this is that water that flows in the middle. We'll talk more in a minute. Streets were of gold. Just imagine.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So these are different people's idea of what it maybe will look like. But just to make us think and know that God is just so wonderful. It's going to be so magnificent. Whew. Okay. And the city does not need the sun, and it doesn't need the moon, because the glory of God is going to be so bright that we won't need it. Because the Lamb, you know, the Bible tells us the Lamb is a lamp to our feet. It's going to be all so shiny always. And in a minute, we'll see that there's no night, never night. It's always day, always bright. And we will never need to sleep. If you remember, we talked that those 4 beasts in heaven, how they were always continually praising God. And it said that they never slept. We will never sleep either when we're there. We have no need to sleep. The glory of God gives the light. Okay, it says the gates will never be closed. They won't need to close them, because the gates are to keep out people that don't belong. Will not be needed. It says, so the gates will never shut, and there'll be no night. Okay, we will bring glory and honor of the nations to God. Okay. No one will come in that has anything different idea, because they'll be all locked up. They have a life sentence in hell. Okay. people that are evil, that lie, or do anything wrong and don't believe in Jesus, their name needs to be written in, remember we said the Lamb's Book of Life. That's where our name is written when we accept Jesus. Our name is put there and written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Now remember, there was the other book of life that had every person that was born, but they weren't all in the Lamb's book. Okay. It says the gates will never, they'll never close. Now, if you lie, okay, so if you lie, shame, deceit, you will not go into heaven. You can come in only if your name is in the Lamb's Book of Life. And that means that at some time in your life, you said, I believe that Jesus was born of a virgin, came to earth, died for me, rose again from the dead, and ascended into heaven. And I believe he is my Savior. If you say that, if you believe that, then you are fine. Your name got written down. It doesn't mean that you will never sin again on this earth, that maybe you will tell another lie sometime, but it's not seen by God, because when he looks at you, he just sees your salvation, your covering of Jesus. He doesn't see any sin that you've done before, now, or in the future. Okay. Only the people whose name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. So there it is, that picture of the New Jerusalem. And it talks about also that through the time of Jesus, people that have accepted him are there. Through, it says, the house of Moses, people that believed in God at that time will be there. And it says the throne of God, the 24, the 4 beasts, all be there. And then the saved of all time will be there on the new earth. Okay. How beautiful heaven must be. It will be so awesome for us, right? Okay, so that's the New Jerusalem, the new earth. Now we're going to look. What time is it? Oh, you know what? I think maybe we should wait till next week to do the last chapter, and we'll do kind of a review through. Because we got started a little bit late. So that will finish this chapter. And then next week, is that okay? We'll do 22, the finale next week. Okay. But do you have any questions on this? Does that help make the picture clear to you?
I have a question.
Yes, Rose.
I can't hand sign, so I don't know if anyone will know what I'm asking.
Go ahead. I'll interpret.
The building had a level of Jerusalem and a level of the bride. Is that correct?
Well, we'll all be there inside.
But are the Jews and the Gentiles going to be separated?
No,
Okay.
it just was showing that they'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to be separated. We're all going to be together.
Okay.
And God is with and in all of us. Okay. Any other questions there or comments? I'm going to stop the recording then. Let's see. If I can. Stop the sharing. Stop recording.